thing, like you watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
I actually analyze the movies. So like what I mean, that hero in a poster with a gun, right? You have to understand that, okay, you know, there would have been a stuntman behind it,
Yeah.
right? Somebody
Yeah.
would have thought of lighting, right? An action scene that became, like, for example,
Welcome to Ofofo Studio. My guest for today is Achintya Gupta. Achintya Gupta is CEO and co-founder at Reo.Dev. Reo.Dev is an AI-based marketing stack for developer tool-focused companies. Welcome to the show, Achintya. Good to have you on.
my pleasure, actually.
Now the thing is, like, you know, I know I made a description over there, but it's super hard for people to understand.
If you look at software, most of the software a couple of years back was mostly application software, like a Zoom app, like the app that you log, or an email app, right? That you have historically interacted with. What has happened in the last couple of years is there is a new kind of software that has grown and grown hugely very fast, is the infrastructure software. This is a software that powers these applications and the internet around. Generally, categories include all your sort of, you know, developer tooling, DevOps, CI/CD platforms, all your APIs, all your data streaming, all LLM ops. I mean, all the hottest things that you hear are some part of. So it is, these softwares are more about, like, the application software is software to human, but this is more software to software. Right. And we are, and for these companies, which are the infrastructure software companies, like any other company, they also need to sell. Their VP of marketing themselves are worried about building the pipeline. Their VP of revenues are definitely equally worried about sort of getting the next $1 million. What we do is we tell them, looking at a lot of intent signals, that these are the companies that are interested in them. Right? And why we are different, or why their need of an infrastructure software as a company is different than, say, an application software or other companies, is because these companies generally have technical buyers. These are developers, these are tech folks. They will not open your email, they will not take your call, they will not click on your ads, they will have ad blockers. So their intent signals are not generally on the interfaces which historically have been used. But their intent signals are on, if they have a challenge, they will say, find an open source solution. They will, if they're evaluating you, they will look at your docs, they will interact with your code. So these are the intent signals we look at, triangulate the data, and we'll tell our customers that, hey, you know, looking at all these activities, this is your pipeline, these are the people who are building it, all of course in the realms of privacy, and then this is how you can reach out.
So that was going to be my question, by the way. So, like, you know, how do you stay within the realms of privacy? Because these, again, like, capturing these signals when they're not out in the open, so obviously, cannot be very easy. Right? So, like, first part of my question, how do you go about capturing these signals? And the second part is, how do you do it within the confines of respectable privacy?
Sure. So one thing we have specifically focused on is to be more account focused than person focused. So we generally stay away from saving or storing a lot of PII, right? And because even our customers first need to know, okay, who are the organizations where an opportunity really lies. They already know the buyers there, right? So that's the first problem we solved, and that was easier to solve from a privacy perspective, because we didn't need to store any kind of a PII here. Now, looking at the data sources, we look at, most of it is public data. We will look at a GitHub repo, but open data there. We will look at your Stack Overflow and things like that, LinkedIn, but also in a signed out manner, which is the public data. Right. So that way and of course, you know, building a company like this, we have most of our customers in Europe and US. We had to be like very privacy-centric from day one. The second is we also get first-party data, but that is sort of bound by their privacy policies. We live up to that. We sort of sign the DPAs, etc., with our customers, and so that, you know, there is clear awareness to their customer that certain kind of data is being shared, right? And how we are processing it. That's how we have been working on.
So is this the first problem that you solved, or have there been other problems that you successfully solved or failed at solving?
Actually, in an early stage startup, you are just sort of solving one problem after the other. The honestly, the first problem we solved was that is this something even needed?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we here feel that a different kind of an intel. I mean, our original thesis was that hey, if you're a developer-focused company, infra software company, you are getting meaningless intent from the existing tools.
True.
Right. And when we started talking about it, we could see like the light shining in the eyes of these prospects saying yes, I mean, we agree to that. Like we have a huge bottoms up motion.
Yeah.
I have my own GitHub repo. I compete with a GitHub project.
Right.
I compete with this, right? And I don't know who is interested, right? Our outbounds are not scaling. So that was probably the first sort of challenge that we solved.
Yeah.
The second was, I mean, we further want to deep dive that okay, then how we are solving is the right way.
Yeah. Okay. So like step back a little. How did you arrive at the hypothesis that this was a problem that was being faced by many?
Yeah.
Like, did you did you go about asking their problems and then arriving at the solution, or did you have the problem already formulated in your head and then you went about seeking validation?
So I had experienced this problem earlier. I used to sell a developer tool and I was the leader, the GTM leader there. So had some kind of a context there, right? So solved it, saw it myself.
That explains it.
But then the next thing was I didn't want to get biased as a founder while building this. So we did like a proper like a validation exercise. We reached out to a potential buyers. Like
how many people did you talk to?
At least 100.
Wow.
And it was, and all strangers, by the way.
Wow.
And there was no form, right?
Yeah.
So like
how did you go about approaching them? What was that exercise?
LinkedIn, find your desired company, find your desired profile, write a short in-mail message that this is the problem I'm solving.
Yeah.
I see you are a veteran in this industry.
Yeah.
If you also feel it's a problem, can I have your 30 minutes? That's
Perfect.
it.
No pitching, nothing.
Nothing, right? Yeah. And so the point is that it helped in two ways. One, if this person is coming over a call, that means it's his problem.
Absolutely.
Right? In fact, it's a big problem because to an unknown person is giving time sitting out of India while he might be in the Bay Area or some of Europe and things like that. But the second thing is that when we started talking, we got very deep insights that I did not have personally.
Like what?
Then, like I used to work in an API company. So earlier we were thinking that, hey, API is the industry we should start building for first, right? Because I have seen this problem in the API industry. So, but when we started speaking to these guys, we realized that companies which are commercial open source companies, right? They have a huge problem, much more than that, because each of them have like their own open source project, and they have no idea which are the companies that are active on open source, right? Yeah. So we said, okay, we'll start with that. Then we learned while talking to these guys, many others, they did not have an open source project, but they were competing with some open source, like somebody was like optimizing MongoDB and things like that. So these were learnings that were very, very useful to us.
Nice. And what came out of it? After you spoke to so many people, after your hypothesis was validated, what was the first step you took in order to start building?
The first step was so there are various channels through which developers are active, right? And our original thesis was that, hey, developers are active on GitHub, they're active on my customers' docs, they're active on Stack Overflow, they're Slack developer communities, and they're like 15, 18 such kind of sources, and can I integrate all of them and then triangulate the data and show it to our customers, right? But you as a startup can only focus on few, right? So biggest learning here was that what are the 2 or 3 we should focus on, and we realized that biggest intel and intent both was lying either on the GitHub repos or their docs, which was a great learning, because if you look at technical docs, nobody had given any importance. Like as a marketer,
Right.
nobody cared about tech docs, right?
Yeah.
But once we started, so that was a good hypothesis when our customer said, hey, this is interesting, this will be interesting. The next thing was that it was hypothesis proving, like, because for it to be true, a lot of things had to work.
Right.
For example, we should be able to get companies that are active on both the places, like a doc and a GitHub. For me to say that, okay, he started with the GitHub repo, but now he's come onto your docs. And hence, there are a lot of activities that are happening, and now there's triangulation, right? We should start seeing some patterns, which are intelligent patterns, right? That was truly like you have in your startup the aha moment, right? That, okay, what we thought as a hypothesis, like the Eureka thing, okay, it works, right? Because you started seeing very interesting thing, right? Our customers had an open source repo, but there are 4 others open source projects that they competed with. Our hypothesis was that, say if there's an opportunity, let's say in a company, Netflix, then some of the developers will look at their open source repo, some of them will look at their competitor repos, right? Because that's how different developers will be, or probably same developer will be looking and starring and forking many of them, right? So the intelligence is not just on their GitHub repo, it's in a cohort. Right. And when we started looking at that, that is the data that we got.
What's
right?
the sample size? What was the average cohort size when you're measuring something like this?
Cohort size, each of our customers, they will have at least 8 to 9 GitHub repos that they will compete with. But in each repo, the activity can be huge, right? Even like 10,000 GitHub stars to 40,000 GitHub stars, right? And many other activities. So then we started seeing this intent or intel across cohorts, and it was like, okay, this is a great way to show that this company has an opportunity, because it's not just one hobbyist developer who is like doing some activity on your repo. It's like a team which is now discovering and trying to solve a problem. So yes, now you have an opportunity. So that was like the biggest Eureka moment for us.
Have there been this is very interesting what you're doing. So, but you have very specific use cases that you go for. Has it ever happened that you, a customer or a prospect, pointed out a use case that you didn't think was very obvious, but you were like, oh, it can be used for this as well?
Yeah. Very often, actually, this whole thing of competitor repos and focusing on that was just came from a customer. They are a customer. They are a very happy customer and very amazing company to work with. Their VP of marketing reached out to me and he said that, hey, what you're building is exciting. Can you help me? I said that, hey, you are not an open source company, so I don't know how can I help you. He said, no, I'm not, but I compete with these lang chains and some of these large open source repos. So
it's an excellent tool for competitor analysis in my head.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Okay. Let's switch tracks.
Sure.
And talk about your own personal journey now.
Sure.
What was your first job, Achintya?
My first job as such, like a job, was in a very small, just co-founder driven startup. It was called Rambhai.com. I was a student, like final year IIT Delhi, and like I was a 5-year student. So like your last semester is like you're just floating, right? So I was like looking for some exciting projects, and their founder, and he's a founder of Magic Pin now, by the way. So he was doing that, and he said, hey, we can give you this opportunity. So I worked.
What was Rambhai?
Rambhai.com was like your Reddit for India news.
Okay.
So people
like forums and leaderboards.
Yes, exactly. This is way back 2009, right?
So
it was fairly popular website, right? But they wanted to monetize it. They were experimenting. They got a guy like somebody excited trying to do an internship. So, but that's like first. It was a sales job, right? I had to sell assets, right? Did that. Then for a month I was in Larsen and Toubro, but then I think. Then my switch happened to startups. Like I joined a media startup called 2020 Social.
I don't know about it.
Okay, they were acquired by Publicis Group, MSL Hanmer, if in couple of years, right? And
What did you do over there?
I was in sales there. Right? I mean, why I took some time thing is because at a startup you are doing so many things. But yes, majority of my time was in sales, business development at there.
What about after that?
After that, my boss there took me to this company Kuliza.
Yeah.
And I joined there in the marketing team. So it was a switch from sales to marketing.
What does Kuliza do?
Kuliza, at that point of time, so Kuliza has done many things across years. It started as a typical offshoring development shop.
Dev shop, yeah.
Like you have many in Bangalore. But like it transitioned, and actually that's a very proud moment because I and Gaurav, who is my other co-founder at Reo.Dev, we played a very pivotal role in changing that company from services, like typical offshoring services, to first enterprise services. So we were like working for HDFC Life. It was like $1 million project that we won for building their e-commerce stack on a Django Python kind of tech, right? So selling like these really transformation projects to enterprises. And then we realized that amongst all of these we were doing, there was this one thing of digital lending where a bank or an NBFC or a non-bank is trying to now transform it and give loans digitally. So we built a product for that. So yes, that journey from an typical offshore shop, which you will find like 1,000 in HSR, to like an enterprise transformation where we was competing with some really large guys to tech proper product. That was journey.
And then after that, what made you? Okay,
yeah.
So I see a pattern over here.
Yeah.
Which is that you join most companies when they're very small. There is some sort of pivoting that happens.
Right.
Once they grow to a size.
Right.
That probably you are not very well adjusted.
Right.
You move out.
Right.
Is that correct?
No, yaar.
No?
I mean, so see, something like this only happened in Kuliza.
Okay.
Right. And I had worked there for 8 years, right? I wanted to start up on my
8
own,
years,
right?
That's
So like I would have been happy otherwise hadn't this entrepreneurial bug bitten me to maybe if that hadn't happened, that I might have still been there today.
Right.
So yeah, I mean it was to start up and build something on my own.
Did you think about some other ideas when you had that idea of starting up in mind? So I mean, like, another way to frame my question is, did you think of becoming an entrepreneur first and then choosing a problem? Or was it that you had a set of problems that you had seen and then you were like, okay, I need to be an entrepreneur to solve these set problems?
Okay, so Reo.Dev is my second startup, right?
What came before?
The first one was this company called Philo. Right? And that happened like more like, okay, I want to start up, and then let's find the problems that are there. Let's find some of like, the direction this world is changing and what we can build there. Reo.Dev was
what was Philo into? What did they do?
Philo was a developer tool.
Okay.
It was an API product. So we were like a data pipe for creators' data. Okay. So if you are a creator, you want to share your data with an influencer marketing platform, that will be a tool that influencer marketing platform will be using, so that creator can safely and securely share their data. And yeah, that product is used by like all major creator economy tools today, a lot of influencer marketing companies. So that's what it is about.
Why did you move away from it?
Yeah, I would have loved to sort of stay. It was a very tough decision to move out, right? Most of it, and a lot of learnings were in terms of how important personal relationships are in sort of working or in growing a startup. So yeah, that is one thing which made me move.
Nice. Makes sense. Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else on the roadmap for Reo.Dev?
Yeah, of course, we have just gotten started.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, in a way, actually, it is like a day one, day zero for us.
How long has it been? How old is the company?
We are less than a year.
Less than a year. Wow.
So like June, July, we sort of formally started
How many
operations.
customers are already on board?
We have roughly 20, 19 to be exact.
That is amazing. That is amazing for 1 year.
Yeah, and like we launched the product in 5 months back. So all of these are in 5 months. All of them are like built in India, but built for primarily US and Europe as a market.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, good validation.
And how big is the team now?
We are 12 people.
12 people. Yeah. And how many co-founders?
3.
How are the responsibilities divided among you three?
So I handle product.
Okay.
My co-founder Piyush handles business.
Uh-huh.
And Gaurav, and I think he has been one of your earlier podcasts, he
Yes.
handles tech.
Amazing person to talk to.
Yeah. So him and I, we work together in Kuliza. Like I was the first sales guy, he was the first engineer.
Wow.
So he also stayed really long in Kuliza and sort of built his way up, launched the product, their flagship product along with me.
Well, what's the flagship product?
The lending
The
suite.
lending product.
Yeah.
Amazing. Are there any other problems that you wish to solve in the future? Not through Reo.Dev,
Yeah.
but even like personally, you think, okay, this is a space that will probably use some help on my competencies.
As much as I've known myself, I think I'm a very focused person. Like it's like,
That's
I mean, cliche, but it's like, like Arjun in Mahabharata, you're not even like looking at like a bird, you're looking at the eye of the bird, right? So that's how I am, right? So if I'm thinking of solving a problem, I would not know anything around it. Of course, as a business leader, as co-founder, you need to keep your eyes open in terms of how the world is changing, right? And adopt as per that. But yes, I mean, right now, this is all I'm thinking about.
What do you do to decompress then? Like because this can be a little taxing, I feel like, so much focused hard work can't be too easy.
Yeah, it's not, you have to have fun, really.
Yeah. What's your idea?
Oh wow, man. I do watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
Like I can watch like brainless movies, right? And
I
like
get that.
I mean, how much I can talk about development marketing, I think I can talk more about movies.
Let's do that.
Yeah, happy to.
What are some of the movies? What kind of movies make you think?
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of movies do you watch to not think? So I'll answer that question first, just so you get an idea. So for me, if it's like a biographical drama or like a historical fiction or something like that, then I would be in a space in which like I'll be like, okay, I have to watch this and I also have to read up on it.
Right.
And then there is your action movies with the lead actor with a gun in the poster.
Right.
And in which I can probably keep my I can suspend my line of thought and just be involved.
So here's the thing, like you watch the movie, right?
Yeah.
I actually analyze the movies. So like what I mean, that hero in a poster with a gun, right? You have to understand that there would have been a stuntman behind it, right? Somebody would have thought of lighting, right? An action scene that became like, for example, Sholay, right? A lot of scenes became iconic, right? Versus sort of there were so many other dacoit movies that did not, right? Something different would have happened, right? Somebody put a lot of thought into it, right? I think as an entrepreneur you can learn a lot about product building from understanding and analyzing good movies. I mean, my theory.
We've actually spoken about this. Watch our podcast with Moktik Kulkarni, in which he draws parallels between entrepreneurship and filmmaking. Let's move on to our next segment, which is the rapid fire round.
Sure.
So I would ask you some questions that have been generated by ChatGPT.
Okay.
Let's see how you fare well against it. All right. So I've got about 10 questions with me right now, Achintya. I'll start with the first one. Would you rather have the ability to breathe underwater or withstand extreme temperatures?
Oh, maybe breathe underwater, right? Yeah, it's sort of a natural fear that comes in me, right, when I'm swimming. So that would be more comfortable if I had one.
All right. Would you rather have the power to heal others or the power to heal yourself instantly?
It's like whether you should have a AB positive blood group or a O positive, right? It's tough here, but I think I'm the more sort of O positive kind of a person. I like.
Okay.
Would you rather be able to control time or control gravity?
Control time as a founder, right?
As a founder, yeah.
And maybe, sometime earlier it could have been gravity, right? And like you want to be cool, but yeah, time today.
Yeah.
Would you rather have unlimited money but live forever alone, or have limited income but surrounded by loved ones?
No, second, any day. Yeah.
This is not even a question. Like,
Would you rather be able to control the weather or control technology with your mind?
I don't think I want to control technology with my mind, right? I mean, like
you
that's
can
just
do
the
that to
last
some
thing.
level.
Yeah, I think we let it flow naturally. Technology, let's take it its own course.
Would you rather live in a world where everyone's emotions are visible or everyone's thoughts are audible?
Emotions are visible.
They are
Honestly.
to an extent.
Very
Yeah.
easy.
But not everyone's. Yeah.
You can. But yes, so in that way, thoughts audible any day.
Okay. Would you rather live in a house shaped like a circle or a house shaped like a triangle?
I think I would like it to be shaped triangular. It is
Why
more.
Circle,
It is more
effective utilization of space.
Yes, it is more disorderly. Right?
It's more disorderly. Oh yeah. I get it.
I like that in the house.
All right. Would you, okay, this I don't think would apply to you, but I'll still ask you. Would you rather be a famous actor, actress, or a successful entrepreneur?
That's right.
All right. So the last one is, would you rather have the ability to be invisible or to be able to teleport?
I think teleporting would be more efficient.
Where would you go?
I don't know, man. Just having the capability is
To
is
cross teleport.
nicer. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, generally, yes. People who travel a lot, they will choose this any day.
Right. That's all I had. How do people get in touch with you, Achintya?
You can just email me Achintya@Reo.Dev. Always available. Right.
It's always up for good conversations. Achintya, it was a pleasure to have you on the show.
No, amazing, and you guys are doing amazing job, guys. I've heard so much about Ofofo Studio. I saw some of your videos; they were really great, right? I think we need more of such stories. Keep on doing that. I often wonder how you and Mohan find time for doing something. But yes, I think amazing. Had a lot of fun.
You made my day, my week, my month, my year.
Thank you, Achintya.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.